And we are live. Episode number 48 in what used to be From Ordinary to Extraordinary, and now we're moving in a new direction starting today. So while this is episode number 48, it's actually our inaugural event of Leadership for the Future, where from this day forward, until the universe inspires me otherwise, we're going to explore the psychology and the strategies of how to know yourself first and foremost, and then how to lead your own life, lead your own business, and lead your market. And I hope that makes sense to you, that you have to know yourself before you can do any of those other things. You with me? So I want to welcome you here. We're going out simultaneously, as always, same time every week, right here at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So while we're doing a couple of housekeeping items, let me just tell you this is episode number 48. And if you're on Facebook, please weigh in down below and tell me who you are and where you're from. Say hello. I'm always excited to see how this community is growing around the globe, and it is growing every single week, which means a lot to me, which tells me that you are helping me help you, help those that you love and care about, because it's obviously valuable for you, or you wouldn't be sharing it as you do. I'm going to talk about those of you who shared last week in just a moment, but because this is episode number 48, we do have a lot of old episodes, obviously, that you've missed if you're just joining for the first time. Not to worry, I've got you covered. All you have to do is go to jamesray.com/live-cast. Once again, jamesray.com/live-cast. And we have a whole library there of all 47 previous episodes with a whole variety of topics, everything from how to live to be 100 and beyond, which I believe you have a responsibility to do as a leader and bring your greatness to the world, and a whole host of other things around the psychology and the strategy of ultimate performance. Now, if you're on Facebook, just do me a favor, if you would. Help me help you, help those you love and care about, and just hit this share button that's right down here. You see it? It's really easy. Just click it and share with your clan, your tribe, if you will. And many of you do this every single week. If you're on Twitter, you can retweet, you can share as well, and on Instagram I believe you can tag and invite. So please do that. It means a lot to not only me but to you, because it's a way for you to give value to those who you are connected with that maybe we're not all connected yet. So just do that, and many people do it every single week. And let me just give a quick shout out to those of you who shared last week on Facebook. Real quickly: Atlanta Monday, Darlene Smith, Ruby Solis, Sean Morse, Sunstar Goal Setting, Pranav Hanreo. Some of these names I see every single week. Thank you so much. L.A. Carter, there's one of them. Nora Jones, there's another one. Tracy Egger, another one. Now here's a new Trinette Sabrina Ingram. Trinette, what a cool name, first and foremost, and thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for joining. I really, really appreciate that. Rob Janus, Raul Mahajan, Pauline Wan, thank you, Pauline. Nancy Winters, Paul Campbell, Atlanta Monday, Anthony Rogers, Mark Aceto, Jay Lee, Shavana, that's a neat name too. I think that's a new name as well. Shavana Moore, thanks for sharing. Tommy Allen Rains, Russ Litow, Nicola Jenkins, and Jyoti Aurora. Thank you for sharing. Keep it up. Bear keeps saying, "Are you serious?" in the background, and she's like, "Oh, they can hear me." So keep up the sharing and the retweets and all of those things which you're doing that will help us all collectively grow this community and make an impact around the concept of leadership. Now, before I get into leadership in this first event, which is actually number 48, let me just tell you, if you're on Facebook, there's a link right above my head. I'm doing an online live event experience, absolutely free, on July 18th, and it's not going to be on social media. It's going to be on the web, and you've got to register. So it's about where this market is going. Have you, like me, noticed that the world is changing? right? Rapidly. And it's only going to speed up. Forbes magazine says that by the year 2020, which is not too far away, that 50% of the jobs will shift and change. Now, I'm not here to frighten you, I'm here to inform you. If you're on payroll right now, that means that 1 out of 2 people in your company, if Forbes is correct, is going to be moving onward. And so when would now be the time to get ready? And that's just one of the things that are predicted for the upcoming future. It's very exciting. It doesn't have to be frightening if you're proactive. And we're going to talk about that on July 18th. You must register. So on Facebook, just click right above my head here. On Instagram, go to my bio page and the link is there, and on Twitter the link is right above my head as well. And you must register, and please do, and you'll see all the times and all the things there, because it's going to be a packed house. I've done this event one time prior and it was full, so you'll want to mark it on your calendars and you're going to want to be there. And what I'm going to share with you is how you and I can seize one of the fastest growing opportunities in the world today. All right, that's a little teaser. I'm not going to get into it here, but you do have to be a leader to think forward, and that's part of leadership. Now, why did we shift to leadership of the future? Well, in my opinion and experience, as I observe what's going on in the world around us, I would submit to you that leadership, true leadership, is needed now more than ever. Do you agree with me? And leadership begins with the willingness to pay the price. Because there's always a price for the prize. And by the way, the bigger the prize that you're going after, the bigger the price you must pay. And I hope that makes sense to you. So let me ask you, do you consider yourself a leader? Would you like to consider yourself a leader? Because I'm going to suggest to you that all of us must become leaders in today's world. And we can no longer sit and wait for leaders to do things for us. We have to do them for ourselves. Does that make sense to you? And so, to be a leader, the very first thing that you and I both have to understand is that we have to successfully lead our own lives. I mean, think about this. To lead others or to lead a business, if you can't lead your own life, how the hell can you ever lead others or lead a business? I mean, the reality is you can't. And this is rampant in today's world. You know, in the age of the entrepreneur in which we live, what I find consistently is that people have a skill or an ability and they jump into business, but they have absolutely no leadership abilities and absolutely no business experience. And so consequently, statistics tell us that 85+% of the new businesses that start up end within about 18 months. And the reason is because of what we're talking about here. Does that make sense to you? And so if it does, in this age of the entrepreneur, and if you are already an entrepreneur, or if you know you must become an entrepreneur, which by the way, if Forbes is even close to accurate, I'm going to suggest to you that you must. You must. Because there's no security on payroll. Security resides in your power to produce. And so you got to first and foremost lead your own life, though. Leadership is the hardest job that you'll ever take up. I mean, just for great example, look at the wear and tear that every single president of the United States takes during his term in office. I mean, if you look at Obama, with all due respect, he aged a good 20 years in his term. Am I right? I mean, it's stressful. It's hard. It's a difficult job. And there are a multitude of qualities and characteristics around true leadership, and we're going to explore those in the following episodes. But one of the things, and I'm going to explore, by the way, my upcoming book, which I've shared with you. The title is Redemption, the subtitle, The Price of Leadership in both life and business. But one of the things that I want to get into deeply with you here today is this whole principle about leading your own life. Because let me just reiterate, if your finances are a mess, which most Americans' finances are a mess. I mean, that's what statistics tell us. That's what the research tells us. And I know we've got viewers here from around the world, but the U.S. is indicative of what's happening globally as well, because we're all on the same blue planet. And if your finances are a mess, then how the hell do you think you can, if you can't lead your own finances, how can you lead the finances of a business? You can't. You know, for me, I don't want anyone on my team whose finances are a mess. I just don't, because it says a lot about you, right? It says a lot about the decisions, the poor decisions you've made historically, and how you have not yet addressed that. If your own mental and emotional mastery is weak, you don't have the resilience, you don't have the mental toughness, you don't have the focus to stay on point, you don't have the emotional strength to take the hits and take the struggles and take the difficulties and keep moving forward, then how do you think you're going to be able to be a leader in business? You can't, right? You'll never be granted leadership on a grander scale until you first and foremost become a leader of your own life. So let me just underscore this point today. And this is the main point today. This is where we start. If you can't lead your own life financially, relationally, if your relationships are a mess, it's because you're a mess, right? I mean, who contributed to that? We've got to take responsibility for where we are and who we are. If you can't lead your own life financially, relationally, mentally, physically, if your health and fitness is a wreck, then that says a lot about how you deal with the physical world, right? And so you're never going to be able to lead a great business, and you're certainly not going to lead your market and lead your field. And I hope that makes sense to you. So then you might say, well, wait a second, James. Are you suggesting to me that the leaders of our country and the leaders of our world have their life together? No. No, I'm not. In fact, many of them are the absolute antithesis, the polar opposite of what we're describing here today. And that's why I'm suggesting to you that we need new leaders. You see, the leaders who are mentally, emotionally a wreck, or financially a wreck, or have put the United States of America, for instance, in such financial difficulty, trillions of dollars and trillions of dollars in debt. You know, these are the leaders that are in vast need of redemption. And that's, again, in my upcoming book. But if you look up the definition of redemption, it's defined as to gain or regain something by paying the price. And that's the price of leadership. You see, everybody wants something to improve in their life and in their country and in their world, but no one wants to sacrifice. You will sacrifice for greatness. I can promise you that. Now, I know that's not popular with the romantics. You know, oh, I just want to be happy and I just want to dance. I just want to have a good time, James. Okay. How's that one working for you? Because you keep chasing that until you realize, take it to the limit. Keep chasing, rainbows and unicorns, and take them to the limit until you realize they're not working, and then come back and talk to me. Because I'm always going to tell you the truth, even if it's unpopular. And so, if you thought, well, James, are you suggesting that the leaders in our country and in our world have got their life together? Then that tells me you're thinking in terms of title. And let me tell you, true leadership has nothing to do with title. Please don't confuse true leadership with any title or any position. That's what I call positional power. It's not leadership. Don't confuse leadership with popularity. Because the fact is, when you review history, some of the greatest leaders who changed the world and transformed the planet were not that popular until after they were gone. Don't confuse leadership with popularity. Don't confuse leadership with number of followers, right? Or people that agree with you. Now, the different qualities of true leaders is what we're going to explore in this series every single week, and more importantly, how you can become one. And they're legion, they're vast. But what I want you to really get today is that true leaders lead first and foremost their life, number one, and number two, true leadership is not about title, it's not about position, it's not about popularity, it's not about number of followers. Those don't make you a leader. If those things made you a leader, then the Kardashians would be leaders, right? And I'm not being disrespectful, but the fact is, it's not about that. In fact, in most cases, the people who are truly leading have just as many, if not more, enemies or people who don't like them as people who do, because they're normally speaking to a smaller group of individuals. Does that make sense to you? The true leader of the future that's so desperately needed in our world is equal parts warrior, leader, and sage. And that's the subtitle of this ongoing series, Leadership for the Future, Warrior, Leader, Sage. We're going to talk a lot about what those things mean as well. And we'll discuss those in upcoming episodes of Leadership for the Future. But for now, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Make a decision right now that you're not going to look for leaders, you're going to become one. And as you make that decision, understand there's a price. And you're not going to be a popular leader. You're not going to be a paper leader. You're not going to be a positional leader. You're not going to be a leader because you have a title. You're going to be a leader because you lead. Get the difference? You see, the minute you make a decision to become a true leader, it throws down the gauntlet. When you make a true decision, you've stepped into the arena. Your entire life is on the line. The consequences are extremely high. Remember we talked about that last episode? And there's no turning back. If you make a true decision, there's no turning back. You're in the arena. Everything you got is on the line. There's high consequences, and there's no turning back. And this, if you're working at a company right now, I don't care what your title is, because titles don't make leaders. Leaders are leaders because they lead their own life first, and then they're gifted with more. Are you with me? You tracking with me on this? Now, it starts with developing your own inner warrior, right? So let's talk a little bit about that for just a moment, because business is for warriors and gladiators, right? I mean, it's a battle. I had an exchange with someone on Facebook here just before we jumped into this episode today, who said, and I said I had a post about, the battle to think for yourself, the battle to be unique is a difficult battle. It's a job for warriors and gladiators. Because you see, you think, but most people don't really think. They're just running socialized conditioning. And it's a battle to break free from socialized programming and conditioning. It's a battle to break free from what the society around you tells you is valuable and should be pursued. You with me? I mean, the battle to break free from your socialized programming and follow your own path of greatness. It's the greatest battle you're ever going to fight, and guess what? It doesn't ever end. It never ends. And someone replied and said, "Oh, James, I just like to think of it as a dance where I get to shake my booty." All right, then here's a fact: change and transformation are hard. They're hard work. That's why so few people ever do it. To break free from the shackles of conditioning is very difficult work. It's a warrior's job. An internal battle, not an external battle per se, but an internal battle with your own resistance. your own demons and dragons. You got to walk your own path. You got to follow your own purpose, which, excuse me, presupposes that you know what that is. You have to know your own values. Most people don't. You see, we make every decision every moment of every day based upon your values. You make every decision every moment of every day based upon your values. And yet if I were to ask you to articulate your top 5 values, could you do that? Most people can't, because they don't know what they are. And this comes from me working with hundreds of thousands of people from 143 different countries around the world. I'm not just making this up. This is my own life experience. Walking your own path and thinking your own thoughts and really thinking is much easier said than done. As we've already stated, many people think they're thinking, but they're not. They're not. They're just rerunning an old operating system that was given to them, 20, 30 years ago, if not longer. And so, lead your own life. Make a decision to be a leader. If your finances are a mess, I can help you become a leader. Let's get your finances cleaned up first. Because most people in this country, in the United States, and I know we have people from all over the globe, but the United States impacts the entire globe. Most people are living way beyond their means. Way beyond their means. Thinking that one more thing is going to bring them a sense of fulfillment or happiness. It doesn't. It doesn't. Let's get your finances in order first. Let's get your relationships in order first and foremost with yourself. Let's get your health and fitness in order first, because let me promise you this, if you're going to achieve any degree of greatness in the entrepreneurial arena and lead your market, it's going to take a tremendous amount of energy. You're going to have to be around a long time. You want to make a lot of money? Then you have to be around a long time to make a lot of money over a long period of time. You with me? You want to make a big impact, and you got to be around a long time to do a lot of great things to make a big impact over a long period of time. Your spiritual connectivity, that your connection to higher purpose and greater impact and contribution. Let's get that in order first. It starts in your own backyard. Leadership starts in your own backyard. If you are masterful and faithful with a little bit, you'll be granted a lot. So many times people say to me, James, I need a new job. No, you don't need a new job. You need to outgrow your current position. When you outgrow your current position, you will be blessed with a greater position. No one ever became blessed with more who was less than what they currently have. You follow me? Well, I need to make more money. No, you don't need to make more money. You're feeling financially strapped. It's because of the decisions and the choices you've made historically, because we're always living in this residual of our past thoughts, feelings, and actions. And so consequently, you're strapped financially because you've made decisions that put you in that position. Let's start making new decisions, because here's what I can promise you. Write this down. If money is your problem, money will not solve your problem. You get that? Because the reason you don't have enough is because you're not using what you have appropriately. It starts in your own backyard. Be faithful with little, you'll be given a lot. Now, let me give you 3 quick pointers, and we're going to wrap it up. I want to hit you hard and fast here today. I know you're busy and you're becoming a leader, so you got a lot of work to do. Number 1, make a decision, a definite decision. You look at the root of decision, it's like incision. It means to cut off from. When you make a decision, you cut off from any other possibility whatsoever. Most people have very, very weak decision-making muscles. Leaders make decisions, and they cut off from anything to the contrary. Number 2, lead your own life. Once you've made that decision, then decide to be a leader in your own life first. Get your own house in order. Isn't that part of the problem in our world? is that we're always trying to meddle in other countries' stuff, and we haven't even taken care of our own stuff. We want to meddle in other people's businesses, and we haven't taken care of our own business. There are people out there giving relationship advice who have had 4 or 5 divorces. I'm not being disrespectful, but really, no, I don't think that's the kind of person I want mentoring me. Lead your own life first. Take control of your own mental toughness, your own thoughts, your own emotional strength. Follow your own path. In fact, better yet, cut a path and leave a trail. Cut a path and leave a trail. That's what leaders do. And then finally, I've already said it. I'll just reiterate it. You don't need more money. You don't need a new job. You don't need a new customer. There's a big difference between a customer and a client. A customer comes once and leaves. A client comes back and back and back and back. You need more clients because you're not handling your business. Your customer service sucks so bad that everyone's leaving. And so let's handle our own backyard. You don't need more money. You need to begin to manage the money you have. You don't need a new job. You need to outgrow your current position. You don't need the new magic diet or magic workout plan. You need the diet that says, I'm going to push back from the table and I'm going to stop eating Chuck E. Cheese and Krispy Kremes, right? And I'm going to let go of the Pepsi and on and on and on, right? I'm going to have some discipline. If you can't discipline what you put into your body, how can you discipline a business? You can't. You can't. It starts in your own backyard. Make a decision to be a leader. Lead your own life. Get your own house in order. I hope I've given you some things to think about. Look, we got this live online event. If you want to see where the market's heading, and I've got a lot of research to back it up, then you got to register. And you got to click the link above my head if you're on Facebook. It's July 18th. Mark your calendar. Set aside the time. Your life and your business and your family will thank you when you do. You've got to register on the link on Facebook. It's above. On Twitter, it's above. And on Instagram, my buddies on Instagram, go to my bio. And thank you for being here. Until we speak again, as always, next week, episode 2 of Leadership for the Future. Stay awake. Love life and be epic.